Feudalism, a hierarchical society based around trade from land to loyalty that developed in the Middle Ages during the 700s. It developed in northern France, extending to the Netherlands, England, and western Germany over the course of this time period. Trade seemed to be the main currency to feudalism, showing already a big difference between the Middle Ages and our era. Our society today relies on dollar bills and coins, its value not in the size, but what can you get using it. I like to use the phrase quality over quantity when describing the aspect of currency between feudal life and current life. Feudal life thought the quantity of land defined the most amount of currency, while currently the quality of what you have is much more valued in terms of coins and money and dollars and everything. Feudalism is comparable to a pyramid scheme where a hierarchy is present enough to be able to distinguish the categories from each other in status. The feudal system often has kings at the top, dukes/lords at the second highest. Lords are more of a general term, so dukes are more reliable. Next are the counts, which are recognized as mid-class nobles. Then the lesser lords. They own portions of the land owned by the greater lords and act as vassals to them, exchanging military service and financial support in exchange for land. The lesser lords divide their land among their vassals, which are knights. This pyramid goes down to the lowest knight class, who has no vassals and has just enough land to sustain himself and his family. No more land than that is granted. This pyramid diagram, it seems like a lot to handle, but it's all organized through the system of trade that enhances the trust and loyalty of the feudal system. The organized system that keeps everything together is called a feudal contract, which explains the mutual exchange between a lord and their vassal. The lord provides a fief/land that can span from acres to many miles, basically giving permission for the vassal to use his land and all the peasants, townspeople, and towns included. In exchange, the vassal must contribute military service to the lord for a portion of the year and also provide financial support in many ways. For example, the vassal must have money ready to provide ransom if the lord is captured by enemies, and any other aspects that the lord needs relief from financially. The peasants that were on these lands, they were bound to it, meaning they couldn't leave the property without special permission from their landlord. These were called serfs, the lowest class of feudal peasants, and they were basically stuck on the land. So this mutual exchange was at its strongest with the dukes/chief nobles. The king had limited power, not being able to control many taxes or laws outside of his own estate, so the dukes were considered to have the most power in the feudal system and could potentially have enough power to overthrow the king. But most of the time, the loyalty that the lords had for the king was strong enough for them to respect him and not try and overthrow him. This is evident in how loyalty was gained, an important aspect of feudalism. Loyalty was what binds it all together, because the loyalty from the vassal to the lord empowers the lord and gives them more status, being able to differentiate the hierarchy more easily within the categories. The loyalty that has to be traded through the land, it's unlike the standards of today where it is expected without trade. It is nonetheless a very key factor in feudalism rights to power and influence on the world. And while the system was obviously flawed in many ways, loyalty was the main idea that helped it stay afloat for so long. I believe that feudalism would have erupted in chaos far earlier if loyalty wasn't the main expectation for land to be given to them. So, that is actually something that feudalism has similarly to modern life. Of course, you're not giving loyalty in exchange for a huge plot of land or anything nowadays, but the main ideas are still present today. A loyalty means that you have allegiance to something or someone and support it all the way. It was like that back then in feudalism, because feudalism required much allegiance and support to assist the vassal's landlord in finances and military strength. I interpret this as something that our modern society has taken away from feudalism, even though it's long gone now, making it so we still have a part of feudalism still present in our everyday lives, even though we may not recognize it. Although loyalty is much more expected to be given without anything in return. Our way of showing loyalty is much more easier and soft compared to the expectations that were required of loyalty, being plots of land. I find this a very interesting connection between modern life and feudalism. And in regards to living under feudalism, it would be a lot more different than today. There's definitely a lot less freedom, given that you're most likely going to be born a vassal, so you have to stick to the boundaries to where you can go on the land. You're likely going to be subject to hours of manual labor each day, and you're required to have like undoubting loyalty to the lord. So you also have to pay taxes too, so this lifestyle would probably not be the ideal choice for a lot of us today, and this way of thinking about the hard life is actually what led to its downfall. After the Black Plague wiped out most of the workers, the lords were scarce on resources and loyal people. Thus, many of the peasants revolted and managed to overcome the lords that had kept them on the land so long. Also, the rise of many influential aspects of society, such as money-based economies, practically killed the idea of feudalism, and thus the idea became outdated. Anyways, I'm probably out of time. Final thoughts: feudalism is cool, but it should be left in the past. That's about it. See you.